Welcome to my talk about secure videos in Liferay. First, I really have to apologize. There won't be any fluffy kittens in this talk. Looking to the title, I really knew it wouldn't work out at all. So, no fluffy kittens. This talk is intended to give you an overview about relevant parts and show you those parts. So you could do an integration of a relevant platform yourself. It's not talking. We are not talking about implementing a video streaming system in Liferay ourselves. So, who are we? Just shortly, I'm working for the Impulse in Cologne. You see, we are doing quite fancy stuff like strategic consulting and conception implementation. We're working mostly or almost exclusively with Java and doing a lot of Liferay and content management systems. I'm a senior developer and technical consultant with the Impulse. So I just have some questions for you as well. Who did something with video content in Liferay at all? Okay, that's good. Who's thinking about doing something with video content? Okay, very good. So who did ever programmatically create journal content or web content? Okay, and who manipulated anything like that on the fly? No one. Okay, that's quite important since I'll talk about that later on. Who played around with X in any form? Okay. And who's still mainly working with 6.0 Liferay? Okay, one. So you get special attention. Who did read a summary for this talk? Aha, okay, thank you. So why I'm doing this talk, why did we do what we do? Did we do what we did? Our customer wanted a platform to manage video content. He has many different video editors in different divisions. There, of course, should be kind of roles and permissions. The system should have been under German jurisdiction, and they wanted to retain the copyright. So YouTube or Vimeo would have been a problem, of course. Also, they don't have any kind of permission management at that scale. The authenticated users, on the other hand, should be able to watch and search for video content. And the portal editors, which is also almost the next step, should have ease of use with the video content. So what did we? We ended up doing that, mainly because the customer already had a partnership with Moving Image 24. Also because we didn't have any clue about video streaming and we really didn't want to learn by failing badly. And we had a portal over there, a Liferay portal, with a lot of infrastructure already, like importing from third-party providers. Mainly what we're doing right now and also on our demo later on is, I think the pointer doesn't work probably. We're importing mostly metadata from the platform Moving Image 24 and convert it into journal article objects. So it can be searched and used really easily by the portal editors. About the Moving Image 24 guys, they're sitting in Berlin, established 2005. So they're not a startup, they're quite established. Important to note, they're using Akamai as a content delivery network. Whenever you do something with video on a large scale, you really should be sure there's a content delivery network involved. Also important to know, they have a lot of servers dedicated to transcoding, so you can upload mostly any format of video. It will be transcoded in almost any other format of video. Just a quick note, is anyone from Moving Image 24 here? So they can correct me if I tell something wrong. No, okay. Also, they offer their customers something called the Video Manager, which is a page for all the administration and editing of the videos itself. And then they have a lot of APIs which you can use to integrate the videos on your own website or in your portal. So I'll show a little demo. First off, I'll show you the moving image 24 video manager itself. So right now we're seeing a list of videos which we already have uploaded. We also see here some channels. You can think of them as asset categories or something like that. So you can use them to filter, to categorize. Most importantly, here's a video which is not approved as of right now. The next one is a movie about an airplane. Just keep that in mind. What I'll do now is approve this one, the Hello DEVCON video. Also, take note, you can upload new screenshots. I'll come to that in a moment. So I go up here and say, yes, it's released. Also take note, you also can kind of lock release a video. I'll do that, won't make much of a difference. So I save that. And now we switch to our demo. So that's almost a vanilla Liferay 6.1 actually. And you'll see here's the video of the airplane, but not the next video, the Hello DEVCON video. What I'm gonna do is start our portlet, which takes a moment. And now, here we go. So we imported from the backend of Moving Image 24 the video, and hopefully it should be able to play. Yeah, nice, works. Okay, so you know I've seen what we did. And I go on telling you how we did it. Those are 5 points, mostly in the kind of chronological order of what we did when we first built or implemented this for a customer. The SOAP API, using the SOAP API of MI24, also the pitfalls, which is, I think, a quite interesting point. Then we implemented specific service classes. I'll go into all of that in detail just in a moment. Then importing the metadata itself, turning it into journal articles, rendering the video players into article content. Also, we'll have a short intermission there for secure videos. And lastly, I'll talk about displaying images hosted in the Moving Image 24 cloud, which you could use for thumbnails in your portal. So first point, integration of the SOAP API. You might ask, why did we use the SOAP API and not the REST API, which was available as well? Well, not all features are on the REST API, especially not the secure video features, which we really needed. By now, they also have a JavaScript API. I can't tell you much about them or about that. I just learned about it. So it wasn't much of a choice for us. We used Access2 to generate a web service client on our side. And then we used Maven to package all the generated code. Also, we implemented a abstract base service class doing all the SOAP authentication. I think the graph here is quite understandable. Pitfalls. Actually, we really wanted to use a different web service API, but they all didn't work out. There's in the WSDL or in the web description language file, there are some features used which seem to be quite ancient, and all the modern APIs just told us, well, no, we don't do that anymore. So we couldn't do it. Secondly, when you're working with Liferay 6.0, you have to use X to do what we did. So no choice there either. And the implementation of Access2 brings with it in itself a mail and an XML implementation, which X doesn't like. So we had to build just another jar, excluding those dependencies. And lastly, which I think it's quite strange, but I haven't found anything else about it. The SOAP API don't seem to be to support more than one request at a time, so we had to synchronize on our side. So next step, specific service classes. I think that's quite straightforward. We extended the abstract base service that did the authentication. And for almost, or for the relevant objects, we had an own service class for video, for skin, for player category, which is the same as channel in the video manager, and the very interesting change list. We use that for a feature. The change list object is not documented in the API or in any documents. It's kind of a hidden feature. They use it themselves for another feature on their side, but you can't find it in the APIs up till now. We just found it by chance and used it, and it's quite nice. So next step, importing the metadata from ME24 as journal articles. As most of you have done this already, won't go too deep into it. Firstly, I'll show you some examples. I have a second set of slides, at least I should have. It's open already. Here we go. That's part of the moving image 24 video object. So you see it has a lot of properties like the thumbnails and the channels or categories and display date and whatnot. We just map that on an article structure, on a journal article structure. Of course, you don't need to import all of those. You just need to import those you're really interested in. That's just for demo purposes. Of course, the list is much longer, but I'm just showing those. Back to the presentation, which is really hard to see. Here we go. Yeah, there are multiple custom fields you can use for transporting data from ME24 to your own backend. Yeah, as I told you, the channels are pretty much asset categories, so we map them. We keep the original backend, ME24 backend ID as expander, so we can check for reimports and don't create duplicates during imports. First important notice, you really shouldn't put the player code into the article content itself, especially if you try to do secure video, since the player code can change and it is normally it's supplied with a token, so the secure feature can work. If you put it into the content, it will be cached for sure and things won't work. Our solution has two modes of operation, like a full import. So it takes a list from the backend of ME24, from the SOAP API, checks for all the relevant videos, imports them, and then it starts deleting all the videos that aren't there anymore. And also you can do a delta import, which uses the hidden secret change list feature. So you apply a timestamp and you get all the changes that happened since that timestamp, which is quite handy. Yeah, of course, you can also do some kind of cron job with that feature. Yeah, which we learned the hard way is changing the channel assignments in the back end of ME24 doesn't create a change concerning the change list. So if some editors change the channels a lot and wonder why no updates are happening, that's the reason. Now, I think that's the most important part or the most relevant part, rendering the video player into the content. So this is normally done for secure videos on the fly. For those still using 6.0, you only can do this via ext. So that really can be a deal breaker, but we were using ext anyway, so we were fine with that. You have to implement one of those two interfaces. In the back, you find the places where you have to put them and the key and the properties. Yeah, the transformer listener or the velocity free marker, whatever template parser. If you're using 6.1 and later, it's a little nicer, or at least it's really much nicer. You can use a journal articles service wrapper and just put it in the Liferay hook. So how do those work? I'll just get them all here. The transformer listener on output Yeah, well, you just use placeholders and replace them. It's the same with the service wrapper. You just replace a placeholder. I'll show an example for that just in a moment. The template parser is actually nicer. You can just add the player code you received from the API, from the MI24 API, into the context for the template and display it. So that's how a velocity template would look like if you use the replace method with one of those. Normal field from the context, normal field again, and here we go. I try to make this very unique so no one overwrites it by accident or anything. Now the nicer or the cleaner method, if you use the template parser do transform, you can just put the required player code into the context and then just do an output. It's very nice, I think. So one more time. About the templates I just have shown you. If you don't do secure videos, you just can cache the templates as long as you want normally. But for secure videos, you really can't do caching since the token that is used for securing them times out, and the cache, yeah, it gets messy quite fast. So you really have to do one of the above every time on the fly for a secure video. Helping with your reusability, you of course can use the same template and put it twice in the backend, one for the cached variant, for the unsecure variant, and one for the unsecure variant, for the secure variant uncached. So the security intermission, talking about security all the time, not telling the details. There are actually two parameters that kind of control how secure or how the video is secured. It's valid once and valid for. Starting with the later, valid for means how long is the player code like valid, how long you can use it. As soon as the user or the front-end user requests a page, the timer starts ticking, and if he doesn't start the video by the end of the timer, the video won't be played. So this is to use for download probably. If someone downloads a web page completely and tries to replay the video, the timer shouldn't be too long. Valid once means if only one client, I think it's based on IP, can play the video, or if multiple clients with different IPs can play the video. So during the course of the creation of this presentation, I learned that there are two different kinds or two different flavors of protection, of security. There's the simple token protection and the extended token protection. The simple token protection only protects the player code. So if someone really goes ahead and downloads via Firebug or whatever, or looks for the traffic, he can download the video file itself from Akamai, save it on his desk or on his drive, and of course share it with anyone. Only with the extended token protection, you really make sure that no one can just download the video and do strange stuff with it. I think the graphic below is as well. You do a SOAP request for the player code, and MI24 returns the player code with the token and all the other parameters. So lastly, the displaying images in the cloud. We just load them directly from the cloud. Since if the cloud really goes down, which is quite unlikely with Akamai and SCDN, the videos won't show either, so we really don't care about that. Also, we don't have to store all the images in our database or in our system, which makes it a lot easier. What is interesting, probably you want to use the images to display thumbnails for the articles on any asset publishers or somewhere in your page as teasers. Again, different ways to do that. With 6.0, you have to use X again, implementing a custom image servlet that has to be specified in WebXML. With 6.1 and following, you can do this via hook, much nicer. We are an implementation of the image servlet filter. Yeah, again, 6.1 wins. If you do it via Ext, you really should yeah, that's the given URL pattern you have to use to get to the image servlet normally. We just put the external URL, which points to the Akamai cloud at the end, since otherwise the T might be interpreted as part of that, and things start going wrong again. Again, with 6.1, it's much nicer. You can just define a custom URL pattern like ME24 cloud image and then put the URL there. Yeah. One last advice. If you do the resizing, you really should validate the image URLs, like the external image URL at the end. Also the referers, unless you want to start a free web service for resizing images for the whole web, which might come quite costly. Yeah, caching, of course, when you resize images, you can store them locally to get things done faster. So if you have to do this and you can't use ME24, you have to select another video service provider. I think there are 3 points you should take care, or you really should consider. First, the backend should support all the features your editors need, like roles and permissions and bulk import, so they don't have to upload every video by themselves. The API really should support all the features you need to integrate properly, like token protection, extended token protection, uploads, downloads, whatever you want to implement. And lastly, there really should be a content delivery network involved, since otherwise, yeah, things won't be fast at all. So actually, I'm quite fast. I hadn't expected that. Are there any questions, comments, unclarities? Yes.
Thank you. Maybe I didn't get it, but when you import the videos, you actually import the video itself, or it's just a reference?
Yes, just a
okay.
reference. That's true.
Yeah, and have you? Why didn't you use just the HTML5 facility for video?
I'm sorry?
I mean, just the video tag. I'm just curious for HTML5 instead of a player.
Ah, the player. That's actually something I forgot to mention. Moving image 24 creates the best video player integration on the fly, depending on the device, on the bandwidth. Also, they choose which kind of video they stream to you. So if you're just going on with a smartphone, they probably will choose a different video type than if you're on your desktop computer. Also, there are different player types on JavaScript based, like HTML5, as you said yourself. So we just don't care. We just say, give us a player code and integrate it. And what kind of code is, we just don't care about that. So actually, we don't import any HTML.
Any more questions? Okay, then thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Just for you, I put together some links. On the top, there's the showcase for the SOAP API by ME24. Below, there's the complete API documentation, also with the JavaScript API documentation. The next one is for the security options. And if anyone feels lucky today, if you look at the video service Java, line 76 and following, probably you find something, yeah, kind of a code smell, but that's up to you. Yeah, and the last, a cat.